Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're looking at I Will Not Orphan My Hamster by Bee's Knees Lacquer. This is another Baldur's Gate 3 polish. This one is a Minsk inspired polish, but he's clearly talking about Boo. So in my mind, this brown polish is just Boo. It is a very sheer coffee brown base with a bright plum purple to magenta to cherry red shimmer. I had been waffling on grabbing 3x3 for months. I had it in my wish list. I was going to buy it. Then this was released. And it had just a bit more base color, and it was what my brain really wanted. I do love a sheer, and this is still very much a sheer, but not nearly so sheer as 3x3. The shimmers are also different, but for me it was more about the base. I wanted to be able to tell the base was brown and not say a gray or a pink or, some other color. This is another polish that, as you see the first coat, you know it will never truly be opaque, and I wouldn't want this one to be. This isn't the most sheer of sheers, but you will see your nail line, especially in bright light. You can't really see the color of the base yet, but you can see some of that magenta shimmer. There are times that the cherry red peeks out at the upper edge of my nail. We'll see the shifts better when we get outside, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. I feel like I say that a lot. Unfortunately, it is true for most shifting polishes. It's just the nature of my particular filming setup that it doesn't show shifts all that well. In the second coat, I do think you get a better feel for the color of the jelly base. It is a deep brown that reminds me of coffee. If you told me you had wooden furniture this color, I would nod along in agreement. Very hamstery. I think you can also get a better look at the shimmer as well now that it's built up a bit more. I feel like this is definitely a mix of shimmers. I can clearly see little blue specks among the mostly magenta background. I do have what I think is bad news. I am extremely swamped right now, and I've been drowning in terms of time management. There are things happening that I do not have permission to share on the internet, but I've been barely finishing videos the night before they are released, and I think I have finally hit the wall of not being able to do 2 videos a week. If it gives you any idea, I haven't yet set up my composters or done a single minute of weeding this spring. My poor garden needs tending, if nothing else. I haven't planted anything. It's pretty bad. And I think the videos are going to be the thing that needs to give. Technically, they are something that I do for fun with my spare time, but I have absolutely zero spare time, and that has moved over to being negative spare time. So you can imagine it's become a bit of a logistical problem for me. I think I will stick to my Friday release, but give up my normal Monday video. I am genuinely sorry. I think I will go back to making 2 videos when I'm able. I wasn't intending for this to be a permanent change. I'm going to try to keep my normal short schedule for the critters because they're just far less time intensive. And sorry this is cryptic, but I will say that I'm doing this because I feel like I need to rather than that I wanted to. Hopefully that will make sense. In the meantime, you've been watching me put on that third coat. You certainly get more of the brown base and more of the shimmer as well. And almost immediately I think we're going to transition out into the sun, and I think that will give you a better idea of exactly how opaque this is, or isn't. We start out on the right with that almost plum purple shift showing. I think you can see some of the texture of the shimmer here. There are at least 2 mixed. I think there's a third, but I want to talk about that later. There is at least a magenta and a blue, and together they sort of give you that plummy appearance. As I swing around to the left, we run through magenta and get to cherry at the extreme end of that left swing. It's very pretty. And I think you can also see a slightly yellowish brown in the background jelly. The undertone is pretty subtle, and the only time I see this slight yellowish tinge is in the bright sun, but it might also be part of the shimmer. and that is the third shimmer I think might be in there. I think there might be a bit of red to black multichrome in this one, and that shimmer pretty famously has a gold shift at one end of its spectrum. Otherwise, the base tends to look like you've spilled coffee on a countertop, excluding milk and cream, of course. And while the jelly is translucent, I don't think it has the clarity of a Cuz or a 3x3. I think we have more of a medium opacity jelly. You're definitely not getting complete coverage, but neither is it just a wisp on the nail. We're somewhere in the middle between the two extremes. In the shade, any hint of that slight yellow to the base is gone, which is what makes me think it's part of the shimmer. The base looks such that if I put my hand on a tree trunk, I feel like it would belong there. Excellent camouflage. The shimmer is still shifting from that nearly plum purple through magenta. I think the red is suppressed here, but it shows up occasionally when a pocket of light hits my hand. And we've made it inside, and we will start out by facing the window like usual. There is a hint of that cherry red before we move left and get more plum and magenta. At the far left, I think the shimmer actually looks a bit muted, but this is where we might also be seeing that golden tone again. There are angles at which I can hold my hand to a light and see much more gold and actually an orange shift as well. But those are shifts I have to sort of unnaturally construct a scenario to see. I think the gold makes it look muddy. Those purple tones and the red are 99% of the time what you are going to see. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe so that I can viciously abandon you on a desert island, leaving you with only an empty coconut shell and an overheated iPhone with 10% charge. Please enjoy a small clip of my squirrel in sploot. We have resumed the sploot.